Alright, what's going on, guys? This is MST, and I'm actually going to be comparing MST to Cosmic Cyclone. Which one is the best? Not necessarily, but which one is the most suited for you? I'm not going to really try to find a winner because obviously it depends on what deck you're playing, it depends on the metagame, depends on what cards people decide to tech, which will be a subject that I will be covering in this video, don't worry. And before I start, friendly reminder to like and subscribe because it motivates me a lot to keep making videos like these. And yeah, let's get right into it. Alright, so for starters, both cards actually fulfill pretty much the exact same role. There are quick play spell cards that get rid of a spell or trap on the field, on either player's field. This is where there's actually the difference. So MST will simply destroy the spell or trap, whereas Cosmic Cyclone forces you to pay 1000 life points as a cost, and then banishes the spell or trap. So it doesn't actually destroy, which is very important, and the reason for that is because it allows you to bypass a couple of cards, such as the combination of Mystic Mine plus Field Barrier or Dark Sacrifice, Dingirsu if you're trying to hit their spells and traps, also Veilings in the graveyard, the Salamangreat Link one if you're trying to hit something like a Will. That actually is a great idea. Now MST actually has some form of value that Cyclone doesn't have, and it's actually in a way kind of its weakness, which is the fact that it destroys and doesn't banish. Now usually that would actually be a bad thing. You would be like, wait, hold on, of course I want the card to banish, but sometimes you actually want to destroy yourself. For example, you would like to destroy your own artifact Scythe in case you draw it, of course. I mean, you have a dead card in your hand, so that's kind of like the only thing you can really do. You can only destroy it. If all of your cards said banish, 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 well, that Scythe really is a Garnet instead of a card that you can actually at least use in a way. And also, another example, obviously, I'm totally not biased here, but Cybernetic Overflow, one of those really good cards that actually benefit off of being destroyed, doesn't have to be by opponent's card effect. So you can actually start a Cyber Dragon engine just by destroying your own trap card, and you're playing like 6 overflows. That's excluding core, which is really nasty because 3 overflow, 3 trap trick. So if you have MST plus trap trick, you know it's your engine. It kind of allows you to get that extra weird consistency slash stability. It's a bit more flexible in case you need to be able to destroy yourself, but otherwise Cosmic Cyclone would probably be the winner. Let me explain why. Alright, let's just say you're going up against Eldlich. They have so many cards that actually float, it's not even funny. All of their spells and traps and even monster, outside of like the counter trap Eldlich, that's the one card, Golden Land Forever, yeah, Wakanda Forever. That's literally the only card that doesn't have an effect in the graveyard. It's actually crazy. So yes, the deck does lose to Necro Valley, and, well, it doesn't even lose to Necro Valley actually, but it does lose to Dweller. It loses to like a combination of Dweller, Royal Decree, Imperial Order, and VFD, which is a very realistic combination. It doesn't work, yeah. But basically, if you can actually banish their Golden Land trap cards, their only trap cards, Elixir, Spell, or Traps, and of course the, what's the name again? The Golden Castle of Eldlich. If you can banish these cards, well, you're golden because they have really nasty effects. They replace themselves, so if you MST them, well, they get a free resource, and you don't really cut them off of their engine. So if you bricked and you have that MST, for example, and they bricked, well, you're only slowing them by 1 turn, whereas if they actually bricked and you had Cyclone, well, you're pretty much completely cutting them off from their engine. They won't be able to float that Golden Land Trap into like an Elixir, and then summon Eldlich, and then, you know, next turn banish the Elixir to set Conquistador, start interrupting you, start making rank 5s, make Negalogia, and then you really can't handle it anymore, and then you start panicking, and then you start screaming, and you know the drill, you know where this is going. Alright, another interesting card, I guess, or cards, that this would hit way better than MST would kind of be our, like, Altergeist Manifestation, and Protocol a little bit less, but still relatively decent. And the reason for that is because you don't really like seeing those cards in the graveyard. First of all, Manifestation has an effect where it can banish itself to recycle back an Altergeist trap card from your graveyard, so, you know, you don't really want them to have that chance. But also Silquiltis, if it is sent from the field to the graveyard, you can recycle back any Altergeist trap card from your graveyard to your hand, so absolutely horrible. You really don't want them to start looping Manif and Silk every single time, because every single turn they have a Compulse, which is extremely annoying, and it's literally, yeah, it's basically an infinite loop, and they actually, in a way, kind of get advantage off of doing that. It's good for them, which is bad for you. Of course, this card is significantly better than MST if you're just blinding Cyclone on a card and oh, what a coincidence, it's Lost Wind, Breakthrough Scale, or Artifact Scythe. You wouldn't want to destroy these cards. Obviously, if it's Waking the Dragon, completely different story, because whether you destroy Waking the Dragon or just banish it face up, not like evenly, the card will still trigger because of just it was worded in a way that would make it inherently good, which is annoying, but at the same time, I'm actually down. If I get Lightning Storm that go Chap Tricks at Waking the Dragon, summon Last Warrior and Ultimate Falcon, LMAO, don't kill me. Virtual World spell and traps also lose really hard, significantly harder to Cyclone, and the reason for that is because King Long or whatever, the continuous spell, I'm pretty sure that's the name, it actually also floats, well, doesn't float, it searches your virtual world monsters from your deck to your hand, and then you have to send one card from the hand to the graveyard, so they will actually be able to get that Lulu, which searches monsters again, and that's actually really bad. So if you don't really want them to have that chance and have that card in the graveyard soon, you want them to, you know, go through a lot of steps and then be able to search that when it doesn't really matter. And it's, if you Cyclone it, not only are you preventing them from getting the search, but also you are preventing them from having a spell or trap, so they can all special summon the virtual world monster and send monsters. You're kind of removing their freedom in a way by forcing them to only search spell and traps with Lulu and send the wacky cards, like, you know, bad cards that they don't necessarily need to send anymore with Lily. The names are very confusing indeed. Alright, now one weird card that I really have to mention that is actually quite funny, but shockingly enough, Cyclone is actually kind of good at handling these kind of cards, and there's a reason why I just said these kind of cards. In case you actually remember, in 2019, people used to play Cosmic Cyclone and Salamangreat in the main deck. It was very good against, of course, multi-roll from Brandish, and it was really good in the mirror, so not only were you preventing them from going Kagari, their one of Kagari, to get back multi-roll, so you would actually just shut them off from something permanently for the rest of the turn, of the game, sorry, but it was just a high ceiling card, I guess I want to say. So since it was good in 2 of the top 3 decks, they would be like, you know what, why not? Why not main deck it? But what if they actually played against another deck, a combo deck? Danger Thunder Crusadia Guard Dragon. That deck only played 3 spell and traps, 3 spells, and it's the same spell. It's Sekka's Light. That card actually does not lose to MST, at all, but it actually does lose to Cosmic Cyclone, and the reason for that is because you won't be able to use that graveyard effect for, I guess, a mulligan into a draw, and the only moment where this can actually change everything is when your opponent already has just a bunch of cards like Thunder Dragon and just a bunch of useless cards, and he's just one card away, one extender away of triggering that Magius and then full comboing on your ass. So if you can stop them from getting just a bunch of draws, then you actually are in everything. Just like if they went Phoenix and actually tried to destroy your Rage, you would flip the Rage, you would try to destroy a couple of monsters on their field, and then you would actually protect the Rage from the graveyard with Veilings because their Phoenix was co-linked, and if it actually draws a card, then they can just draw that extender that unbricks like Levy near top deck. Once again, you don't want that to happen, so when you have the cards and the ability to stop your opponent from just going too far, well, you should actually try to grab it, and this is something nice that Cosmic Cyclone kind of allows you to do, so yeah. Now, of course, Sekka's Light is completely limited, so nobody really plays the card, but a card that actually really looks similar to Sekka's Light exists. Not really similar, but I guess kind of. It's called Chaos Space, which obviously you already know what this card is. This card will try to send a light or dark monster from your hand to the graveyard to search a light or dark that cannot be normal summoned from your deck to your hand, and if you Cosmic Cyclone that, well, you're preventing your opponent from getting a +2 after that, because the graveyard effect of Chaos Space allows you to put back one of your banished light or dark monsters that cannot be normal summoned on the bottom of your deck to draw 1 card. So you're making them lose 1 card, which is already better than cycloning a Sekka's Light, but also on top of that, you are preventing them from getting the second search with the Chaos Dragon, because, you know, they would go like White Wyvern Buster or something for the Striker Dragon, search black, and this is where they would go Chaos Space, put back White on the bottom of the deck, and then, you know, draw a card, and then link off the black and the Striker Record Dragon from Romulus and then try to search for the white. So if they never have the opportunity to get that white back into the bottom of the deck, they are also losing a search. So losing a search, losing a draw, they have less cards to play with. You always want that. They might have to start discarding cards that they don't really want to discard, which is good for you because you will need less cards to worry about them, and if they get into a simplified game state, you might actually be able to win much quicker. So this is the main thing with Cosmic Cyclone. It actually makes your opponent lose cards in a harder way. The only moment really where I can see MST being better than Cosmic Cyclone is, like I said, in a format where people would probably main deck Artifact Lancia and, you know, potentially side Imperial Iron Wall. So that would force you to kind of think, do I really still want to banish my opponent's card? Do I need to time this better? You know, chain it to an Imperial Iron Wall instead of just blind using it. And those are just all concepts that you have to be, I guess, kind of wary about if you want to, you know, be at the top of your game. And also MST, it's mostly a card that you kind of use as a, you know, a double utility card, a card that not only beats your opponent's card, but also, like I said, destroys your own card. So if you're playing artifact cards, well, if you have Cyclone and Scythe one day and you have just nothing else, well, you would actually be in a really good mood if that card was an MST instead. But at the same time, can you be like, oh my god, in this context I really needed that instead, so I'm just really sad I didn't play it, I should have. You know, the end of the day, deck building is just a bunch of sacrifices. Do I want to lose against that to win against this, or win against this to lose against that? You know, it's basically what I'm trying to say. So that's basically it. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time for another video. Thank you. Peace.